My name's Kate. I'm 30 years old, living in the suburbs of Chicago with my husband, Luke. On the outside, we looked like the perfect couple. He had this easy smile, the kind that made everyone around him feel at ease. And I guess I thought I had everything under control. But it wasn't until the fight, that night, when everything came crashing down. Luke wasn't the loud, boisterous type. He wasn't the life of the party. And he didn't always express himself. But that was just who he was. Quiet, thoughtful, a little shy. And at first, that was fine with me. In fact, it made me feel like I could take charge. I was the one who made the plans, handled the finances, decided where we'd go, what we'd do, even what we'd eat. It felt like a good balance, or so I thought. But there were so many days when I felt like I was doing everything, like I was carrying the weight of our entire life on my shoulders, while Luke just coasted. He didn't get excited about things, didn't get involved in the decisions I made, and that started to wear on me. It was one of those nights. A normal evening that somehow spiraled out of control. We were sitting at the kitchen table, just having dinner. Nothing big. He'd made spaghetti. I was tired of doing everything. Tired of never feeling like he had my back. And that frustration, the one I'd been burying for weeks, started to come out. "Luke," I started, trying to keep my voice calm. "Can we talk about the bills again? You haven't helped with them in weeks." He looked up from his plate, his expression as neutral as always. "I'll get to it," he said softly. "I just didn't think it was urgent." Didn't think it was urgent. That small phrase set me off. It was the same old story. I was always the one picking up the slack, and for some reason I just couldn't keep it in anymore. I could feel my blood boiling. "You never think anything's urgent?" I snapped, my voice rising. "I do everything around here, Luke. I take care of the bills, I take care of the house, I take care of us. And you just sit there like everything's fine. You're useless sometimes, you don't even notice what's going on." The words were out before I could stop them, and the moment I said them, I felt a heavy weight settle in my chest. He didn't flinch, didn't even look upset. He just stared at me with those tired eyes of his, like he was used to it. But there was something else there, too. Something I couldn't quite read. Something like resignation. "I'm sorry," he said quietly, pushing his plate away. "I didn't realize you felt that way." I opened my mouth to say something, but I didn't know what. So instead, I just stormed off to the living room, frustration bubbling up in my chest. And then, he just did what he always did. He stayed silent. He didn't come after me, didn't try to explain. It was like he just withdrew. I stayed up late that night, watching television, trying to calm down. But I couldn't shake the anger. Why didn't he care? Why couldn't he just step up? We never really fought like this, but the more I thought about it, the more everything about him seemed off. The next morning, I woke up to an empty house. Luke had already left for work, but it wasn't the usual morning routine. No coffee brewing, no note saying "I love you" on the fridge. Just silence. I tried to push the unease away. He was probably just busy, I told myself. But as the day went on, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. That evening, when I came home from work, everything seemed normal at first. His shoes were by the door. His jacket was hanging on the coat rack. But then I saw the envelope. A simple white envelope lying on the kitchen counter. It had my name written on it in Luke's neat handwriting. I picked it up, my heart racing. I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't expect what I found inside. The letter was short, just a few lines, written in his usual calm tone, but the words hit me like a ton of bricks. Asterisk, Kate. I think you're right. I've been distant, and I've been taking you for granted. I don't want to be the person who just exists in your life. I want to be more. I want to be enough. But I don't think I am anymore. I've tried. I really have, but it's never been enough for you. I don't want to be useless to you, Kate, so I'm leaving. Maybe this time apart will help us both figure out what we need. I love you, but I can't keep feeling like I'm failing you. Luke asterisk. The words swam in front of my eyes as I read them again. And again. I couldn't breathe. I'd called him useless. I'd pushed him to the edge, and now he was gone. Just like that. I couldn't believe it. This wasn't how things were supposed to be. I never meant for it to go this far. I didn't think the words I said in anger would matter that much. But they did. And now I had no one to blame but myself. I grabbed my phone and called him immediately. It rang for what felt like an eternity before his voicemail picked up. I left a message, my voice shaking. Luke, please, come back. We can fix this. I didn't mean what I said. I'm sorry, please, don't go. But I knew deep down it wasn't that simple. He wasn't going to just come back. I'd broken him, and no amount of apologies would fix it. Days went by. I didn't hear from him. The house felt empty. The silence was deafening. And slowly, I started to realize just how much I needed him. Not just as a husband, but as a partner. I had taken him for granted, thinking that I could handle everything, that I didn't need him. But I was wrong. I needed him more than I ever realized. I went to the apartment he'd rented, hoping to see him, hoping for some sign that he was willing to talk. But when I knocked on the door, it was empty. His things were gone. He had truly left. I sat down on the floor of that empty apartment, tears streaming down my face. I couldn't undo the damage I had done, and the worst part was I didn't even know if I could ever fix it. But if there was one thing I knew now, it was this. Words matter. They carry weight. And once you've said something, once you've made someone feel small, it's not so easy to take it back.